What up? What up? What up? What up? Welcome to the Scorecard, the boxing scorecard, where I ask people to bring your scorecard and an explanation, not just simply your opinion. So last night we had a big main event between Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan King Garcia. Take a quick look at their stats as we get those picks up. A quick look at their stats coming into this fight. Ryan Garcia came in was undefeated with 23 wins, 19 knockouts, 80% KO ratio. 24 years old. Tank Davis at 28 years old, coming in with a record of 29 at 29-0 with 27 knockouts as a 93% chance KO record. So you fight this guy, there's a 93% chance that you're getting stopped. 28 years old, right in his prime. Yes. The scorecard, of course, you're here for the scorecard. The fight ended in a knockout, but the official scorecard when the knockout happened in the seventh round, one judge had it 58-56. Another judge had it 59-55. Another judge had it 59-56, and the fans on BoxRec had it 58-55. My specific scorecard was 59-54. I wasn't able to locate it here. I scored the seventh round, even though that's when a knockout happened. But up until the sixth, I had that 59-54. And if that fight would have continued, the way that it was going, I looked like Tank was going to win a technical decision. The way that the fight was going, I think people really underrate Tank's boxing skills. You know, he stopped 27 out of his 29 opponents. So obviously he's known for his power, but you know he sets those punches up. He's not just swinging wildly. He might have a low output, but he has a very high accuracy as far as his punches landing. So a quick rundown of each round. Let's get those picks running through now. So the first round was really the only round that I gave to. Actually, sorry, my bad. Go back to the scorecard, and I'll go through each round, and then we'll go through those picks. Thank you, Eric, the number one boxing producer out in YouTube land. So the first round, I had Ryan coming forward. Oh, by the way, I'll take your comments after. I'm going to go through all the notes. I'll go through the comments and your educated questions after. First round, my notes for round one, Ryan coming forward and initiating the fight with his speed, which we knew. And, you know, as far as their speeds, everyone was assuming that Ryan's speed was that much more faster than Davis's. No, I didn't think so. When it came to the speed, I think it was both. They were both matched when it came to speed. The second round, from what I understand, a lot of the judges, like Ryan was winning that round, not clearly, but he was winning the round up until he got dropped with Davis's timing. Again, when Davis catches you, it's not just a random punch. Shout out to my homie Mike, who pointed something out that I preach to the boxers all the time. When you're ducking under, you want to make sure that keep your eyes up, not looking at the floor. Because when you look at the floor, first of all, if you're looking down, you can still get punched in the top of your head, which is illegal. And the ref might stop and give you a couple minutes to recover, but you're still going to be messed up from getting punched on the top of your head. The other reason why you don't want to look down, you want to keep your eyes up to see what the opening is from making your opponent miss. In this case here, Garcia threw his left hook, his famous left hook that he knocks out most people with. Davis specifically ducked under, leaned back while he was doing this, kept his eyes up and saw the opening, and that's how his timing he was able to come back and catch Garcia with his own counterpunch. Davis's timing is very underrated, man. There's very few boxers that have the counter-punching skills of Gervonta Tank Davis. So my notes for round two was Davis's timing. Anyways, I keep bringing up round two, but I'm not finishing the thought. Someone please confirm, and again, I'll check the comments after, but Apparently, the judges still scored this round as a 10-9 round just for Tank because they had Ryan ahead. One of the judges had this a 10-10 round or a 10-9 because they thought Ryan was winning so convincingly. I highly disagree with that. Even if you had Ryan winning that round, which he was by being a little bit more busier, but none of those punches were that much effective to nullify. Usually at the professional level, if you get knocked down, it's an automatic 10-8 round, unless you come back and really put it on the person that gave you that 8 count. But that was not the case. So I thought that was a clear 10-8 round for Tank Davis. Round 3, I only marked 2 rounds as close rounds, round 3 and round 6. Round 3 was one of them. My notes for round 3, Davis is coming forward, initiating the fight a bit faster. Gervonta Tank, he's usually known for backing up more. Again, low output, but very high accuracy when he does throw. But in round 3, he was actually coming forward, initiating the fight more, which he's not used to doing. Once again, for everyone trying to say that Garcia was scared, it's not. That's the wrong word to use. Like I just said this, a couple minutes before the show. Tank, he has that power to make you change your mind about your game plan. That's like I said this years ago. Vince, shout out to my homie Vince. I said this to him years ago. Davis has Deontay Wilder type power. He has Deontay Wilder type power for the little guys. Yeah. So back to the scorecard. Round 3, Davis coming forward. Yeah, it was a close round, but I still gave it to Davis. Round 4, Tank looking real comfortable. Garcia looking hesitant. Once you feel someone's power, again, it's not every boxer has this, man. It's not every boxer has this. That's why this Tank kid is special. Once you feel someone's power, it makes you change your mind. It makes you change the game plan. It makes you hesitant. Not that you're scared. It's just that you come forward and make one bad mistake, it could end in one punch. Tank Davis, he's one of the only boxers in the sport today. There's very few of them. There's a lot of boxers that have a high stoppage TKO, a high TKO percentage on their record, where they, throw a bunch of punches and the referee has to come in and stop the fight, or your corner throws in the towel. That's a TKO. But the boxers that had that single one punch, all they need is one to catch you with to change your whole game plan. There's on one hand how many boxers that off the top of my head I can only think of Deontay Wilder and Tank Davis. Again, put it in the chat and I'll mention it when I look at the chat in a couple of minutes. But he's one of the only boxers that has that make you change the game plan power once he catches you. So that's the reason why Garcia had to change. How he looked different after that first one, and again for that second knockdown. I didn't even finish the scorecard. We'll get to the knockdown when it happens. Round 5. Notes for round 5. Garcia shook twice off fakes. Tank in control. Yes, the way that you can control your opponent without even throwing a punch after landing that hard one is just by faking. Tank's fakes at Garcia were so good, especially after you have to respect it, especially after you took one of those. So you have to respect it. So when Tank was faking at him, Garcia had to respect it because of what he felt earlier. That's how you could, really control your opponent without even throwing a punch. This kid Tank, man, he's something else. Yeah, Garcia shook twice off of fakes, like literally standing up into the fetal position. Tank in control. Round 6. My notes for round 6. I marked round 6 as a close round, but I still gave it to Tank. Ryan landed some clean ones, but Tank still landed as much. So Ryan Garcia did land a few, still landed a few good punches, but Tank still landed as much as Garcia did. I think maybe because that was one of the other rounds where Garcia, got his output out there. Anyways, Tank still matched with the high lows. As the shorter boxer, Tank is really good with coming to the head and coming down to the body. And not just aiming lower, but getting his whole body, like changing levels, getting his whole body down when he throws a hard, not just a hard straight left cross to the body, a hard rear hand, but a hard jab to the body, coming back up to the head. Yeah, Tank is good with those high lows. And then round 7, I didn't have any notes for round 7, but how that knockout happened, and we'll get more detailed into it during the knockout of the week with my boy Mike Orr at 6 o'clock today. The way that Tank landed that body shot, and this was a perfect example too. Another thing with his timing, sometimes to time someone else, specifically in boxing, you have to throw while the other person is throwing. That's how timing is. It's not just simply covering up and waiting to block a few punches, and as soon as they stop, then it's my turn, and then your turn, and then my turn. No. You have to time it while the other person is throwing. Yeah. So in that 7th round, Garcia felt that he needed to come forward to initiate the fight more. Tank was just waiting for him. They both threw at the same time. Tank sat down and he still turned his hip and used his legs to put more power into the punch, because the punch didn't even look like it was that hard. That's how hard this guy punches. That's how hard Tank punches, is that it didn't even look that hard until you saw Garcia's reaction. If Garcia didn't react that way, no one would even have said that he, probably wouldn't even have noticed that the punch landed, because they were both throwing at the same time. So you couldn't really tell until Garcia backed it up. And someone said to me, like, it didn't even look, they just saw the highlight. They didn't watch the fight, but they saw the highlight, and they're like, yeah, he just looked like he took a knee. I said, yes. If you've played sports, it doesn't have to be boxing. We can get through the pictures now. If you've played sports, at some point in time, you must have got winded, maybe just by getting hit in the stomach with the ball, or just getting hit in the stomach by accident, where, it takes away your breath for like 30 seconds. Obviously, you can recover, but for that 30 to 45 seconds, it feels like you're going to die, because you have no breath at all. So yeah, but in boxing, all you have is 8 seconds to get up and show the referee that you can continue. Shout out to Garcia, because and for there's the people out there that would say that he could have got up. Yes, he could have got up, but the punishment that he would have took afterwards, he knew what he was in for. That's why he made the smart decision to stay on that knee and take that 10 count. He didn't quit. He didn't give up. He understood the danger of the situation. So I show my respect to Garcia for understanding that. For the people that say, I'd rather die on my shield than quit and all that, those are the people whose career don't last that long. People will talk about you when you're long gone and brain dead, but I care more about, as far as coaching, I care more about your life after boxing and making sure you're still good. Boxing's already a danger enough sport, so you don't want to put yourself in more harm's way if you don't have to, especially when the reality of the situation. So respect to Garcia for understanding the reality of what was about to happen if he would have stood up and continued. But he couldn't. He said in the post-fight press conference, they asked him 2 or 3 times what happened during the punch. He said, man, I simply got caught and I couldn't recover in time. No excuses. Those were his words there. You see Tank with his timing, man. Tank is 5'5" with a shorter reach than every single boxer that he faces. But his timing is so perfect. He makes up for his lack of height and reach with his perfect timing, man. What else we got? Yes, if the one specific thing you could take away from this fight, is keeping your eyes open. This is kind of an example right here as Tank is coming to the body, but keeping your eyes open while you're ducking under. Because if you, like I said before, if keeping your eyes closed and ducking your head down can result in you getting hit on the top of the head. And even though the referee might stop it and give the other guy a warning, you're still going to be messed up. But keeping your eyes open. So every drill that you're doing, whether you're on the bag or shadow boxing on your own, you don't have to just wait to do a drill with your coach. Whether you're on the bag or shadow boxing on your own, try to mix in specifically, do a round of simply just ducking under, but specifically keeping your eyes up with your hands up and using your legs. Those three things: using your legs, keeping your hands up, and eyes up. You know, everyone forgets that eyes up part. That's the reason why Tank's timing is so good when he's moving his head. Today I'm specifically focusing about the ducking under, because that's how he landed basically both of the punches that stopped the fight, or the first one specifically, when he caught Ryan throwing his famous left hook and timed it. And even on the body shot that he landed, they're both on the inside, keeping his eyes open. They both threw at the same time. Tank was just faster and kept his punch shorter, and was able to land before Garcia landed. So, yeah. What else do we got? Yes, exactly right here. Garcia's trying to jab his way in. Tank's knocking it down with his lead hand, but still keeping his eyes up on the target, on the chin, on Garcia's chin there. I love these picks, man. Keep them flowing. What is next for both of these guys? Oh yes, quickly before we talk about what's next for these guys, this quick thing about the rehydration clause and people trying to discredit this win because of the rehydration clause and all this stuff. You know, to make it clear, this was not new to Ryan Garcia. He knew all these things before going into it. And if he couldn't, if my big question is, if for all the people that are talking about it more than Garcia is, and want to discredit Tank for this, if Garcia put himself at such a disadvantage that that there's no even possible way that he would be able to win this fight, then why would he take the fight in the first place? It's not like, it's either, he has all these millions of followers on his social media, but he's really just broke and he knew this fight would give him a big paycheck. It's either that, or he knew that this fight was going to be tough and wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page with him as far as the reason why he lost the fight. Because I see, a lot of people using that as an excuse. If he was at such a disadvantage and he already knew he was going to lose, then why would he sign the contract when he knew all of this before signing the contract? So don't start with it now. The reason why, again, I'm not just running my mouth with my opinion. I'll give you my educated reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. Looking at the weigh-ins, there's two things. You've seen before when guys go to weigh-in, guys and girls, when people go to weigh-in, when you've seen it for years, you can tell the people that had a hard time doing it. Why? Because as soon as they step off the scale, they got one of their people there giving them a drink to put it in. As soon as they make weight, they stand up, they'll have to lift their arms up, do whatever, stand on one foot, strip down, take everything off, hold a towel in front of them, do everything they can just to barely make the weight. And then as soon as they step off, someone's giving them a drink and they're chugging it, whether it's Pedialytes or something. They have to get it right away. That's how much they struggled. Ryan Garcia stood on that scale like it was nothing. He had a nice full six-pack and everything, stepped off the scale and was talking trash right away. There was nothing about him that looked like he had a tough time making that weight on the scale. Now, with that being said, let's take it a step further, because people are going to try to say, well, yeah, what about the rehydration clause? He can only gain more than 10 pounds. Okay, so let's look at the numbers of that. So he was only allowed to gain 10 pounds over that. So he couldn't weigh more than 146 pounds the following day. Well, okay, so the following day he weighed in at 144. 2 pounds under his limit. So how much of our obviously by the numbers, again, I'm not just running my mouth, I'm giving you numbers to back up what I'm saying. Obviously, by the numbers, he had 2 pounds to go. Obviously, he did not have any trouble making this weight. Right? That is clear. So let's cut the talk on that. So now let's move on to what is next for both guys. We'll start with Garcia first, the challenger. He said he's moving up to 140. There's a few sharks up at 140 up there too. He's not just gonna have an easy time. We'll start with Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez, June 20th or June 10th. Sorry. Man, boxing, we got a lot of big fights. May 20th, Haney and Lomachenko. June 20th, Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez. This is going to be very interesting. I'm assuming Ryan Garcia will be ringside at this fight because he's probably, just because of who he is and the money that he commands for his fights, he can step right into the Sharks if he really wants to. He could step right into the Sharks, into the ocean with the Sharks at 140. He could take on the winner of Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez. There's also Regis Prograis. Wow, another monster at 140. Regis Prograis, Jose Ramirez, Jack Catterall, who made a name for himself against Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor won a very close, controversial decision against Jack Catterall. I'm not sure if you're going to have the rematch of that, but that would be interesting too. Jose Zepeda, who was in a fight of the year with Baranchek just last year or the year before. Gary Antoine Russell is also a problem and a knockout artist at 140 pounds. Rolly Romero, he made a name for himself against Tank a couple of fights ago, put up a good fight. I had him winning that fight against Tank before Tank put him to sleep, like he's done with 90% with mostly everyone else. Sandor Martin is like, if I was Ryan, I would take on a guy like Sandor Martin at 140 pounds first, who is not known as a hard puncher, but as a respectable fighter. He beat Mikey Garcia, put him into retirement just a little while ago. So let's ease your way into 140 before you just jump into the ocean, into the deep end with the Sharks. And now let's look at Tank's next competition. Tank, again, he's him and Haney. Haney is the undisputed, has all the belts. He got the belts from Cambosis. Him versus Tank is going to be very interesting. But before Haney says anything, before we start talking about Haney and Tank, Haney needs to make sure he takes care of Lomachenko first. Let's put a break to the talks between who would win between Tank and Haney, because Haney has Lomachenko on his hands May 20th, and that is going to be serious. And it's going to be serious for if you're a serious boxing fan. If you're looking for an exciting fight, just for two people to just bang each other out, and there's one person gets knocked down, the other person like that. It's not going to be a back and forth battle like that. It's going to be a tactical, smart chess match between Haney and Lomachenko. A couple of years ago, people would have picked Lomachenko by a heavy favorite. But he's been humbled in the past couple of years. He lost to Teofimo Lopez at 135. Since then, he's had a couple of good wins and has looked good in those wins. Speaking about Lomachenko, and Haney has had two big wins against George Cambosis, who beat Teofimo Lopez, who was the guy that beat Lomachenko. So, I know that. Sorry, I know. There's a few fights between now and May 20th, but May 20th is going to be the next one. Let's flow through those pictures again, please. I feel like Tank's yelling at me. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Who else we got? And again, the only person, just speaking at 135, I was looking at who else is there that can challenge Tank. Frank Martin. I give Frank Martin some respect. He's working his way up, just for the simple fact that he's in the same gym with Spence and undisputed Charlo, with their coach. I pay attention to the coaches. So Frank Martin, he's with Derek James. I look at Derek James as probably one of the number one coaches in the game right now. And the only person that I can honestly see giving Tank a problem is the one Shakur Stevenson, who I've been saying since I saw Shakur Stevenson that he was either 17 or 18 years old at the 2016 Olympics, winning a silver medal against the two-time Olympian Robisi Ramirez, and Shakur Shakur lost a close split decision. He won a silver medal. I said from them, Shakur's boxing skills, he's more mature than his age with his boxing skills. Speaking about Shakur Stevenson, but Tank is also very mature and he's seasoned, and he's been at that stage before and has put his power on display. This picture right here, you see Garcia on his knee, like he knew, like he wanted, like your body wants to get up. Like Garcia did not make the decision to quit and say, this is time for me to put it in. He wanted to get up, but he could not, because that pain was still there. And if he would have got up, he would not have been able to protect himself as good as he needed to be against Tank. What else I got in my notes? That's it here. Let me take a sip of my water. And then, Mike, yeah. Okay. Mike, you the only one in here? Okay, that's all good. It's all good. Shout out to my man, Mike Gore, at 4 Monday, Wednesday, Friday with the newest prospects. When you feel that power that you weren't expecting, they can throw you off your whole game. Exactly, man. You can't forget about Buatsi when it comes to one-punch power, and Beterbiev, just to add to that list. Yes, exactly. Beterbiev, who I shout out to Mark Ramsey as coach. I was in Montreal with the training camp with Team Canada a couple of weeks ago, and I got to meet Mark Ramsey, one of the top coaches in the game. He is Artur Beterbiev's coach, who has a 100% knockout ratio on his record. Beterbiev and Buatsi, definitely some one-punch guys in there too. Thanks for reminding me about that. People talk nonsense about dying first in the ring before giving up. Have clearly not been it. Exactly. It's just just common sense, man. I've said this a bunch of times already to fighters. I'd rather you, as far as me throwing in the towel, I would rather you be mad at me for stopping the fight too early, rather than me coming to visit you in the hospital because I stopped it too late. So yeah. Do you think Tank should have kept his whole purse since they bet their entire purse on? Man, that's not legal. That's like making a bet with someone just on the phone or something like that. Like it's not. There's no legal contract for him to walk over and say, "Hey, give me my money." Come on. So obviously they just bet over the internet. Like you have to have stuff in writing with legal documents, especially when you're betting millions of dollars. You're not just betting the change in your pocket. When there's millions of dollars being exchanged hands, you need a little bit more solid paperwork behind that, legal paperwork behind that. So obviously that verbal bet that they had, is not. And with that being said, though, at the press conference, that last press conference before the fight, the announcer asked them about the bet. Tank said, yeah, their people called us and said, yeah, it's not a good idea. And Ryan Garcia confirmed this, because when they asked him, they said, he was like, I wouldn't want to take his money anyway. So yeah, Garcia confirmed that it was his side that turned that down anyway. So what else we got here? There's a few up and comers at 135 that could give Tank trouble in the future. Yeah, man. Like I said, that guy Frank Martin, who's under Derek James, he's causing some problems. I like Michel Rivera. I'm not sure he might have lost his last one, but I still like him. Michel Rivera, he has that Muhammad Ali look, the shorts and the haircut and everything. Sanction fees and taxes come first, of course. Yes, they do. But that is it for now, I guess. Thank you once again. Shout out to my man, Mike Core. We'll be back at 6 with the knockout of the week, which of course is the Tank knockout, but we're going to break it down in detail on how it went down. Keyshawn Davis at 135. Yes. It'll still be a few years before he works the way up to before they give him that shot. I'm not sure how long Tank's only 28 years old right now, so he still has a nice good couple of years ahead of him that he could keep fighting and be the number one guy at the sport. So yeah, there you have it. Yeah. The scorecard once again. The scorecard where I ask people to bring your scorecard and your opinion, not just your scorecard and an explanation, not just simply your opinion. This fight ended in a knockout, but we broke down in detail what led up to the knockout. And your drill for the week, your defensive drill for the week is when you're on the bag or shadow boxing and specifically sparring, when you are ducking under, which you don't want to duck under all the time, obviously, but when you are working on ducking under, to go do the motion slowly from shadow boxing first and then on the bag before you do it in sparring, but specifically using your legs to duck under and keeping your eyes up, not looking at the floor. That's the one thing. And still staying covered up. Just because you're ducking under doesn't mean the coast is clear. So still keeping your hands up as you're ducking under and keeping your eyes up. No matter how low you get, still keep your eyes up on the target or at least on the stomach level before you come back. Yeah. Catch me on any social media at Cedric Sports. Yes, and Talkin Fight, the number one boxing YouTube channel out there. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you like this show so it helps with the visibility of the show. Subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend. All right, man. Peace. I'll be back next week.